Good afternoon. This is a lively crowd. This is going to be a good commencement, I can tell. Graduates, families, friends, on behalf of the faculty, staff, and the Board of Trustees, welcome to the College of Arts and Sciences commencement in this, the 180th year of Willamette University. We are gathered on the land of the Kalapuya, who today are represented by the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde and the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians, and whose relationship with this land continues to this day. We offer gratitude for the land itself, for those who have stewarded it for generations, and for the opportunity to study, learn, work, and be in community here on this land. We acknowledge that our university's history, like many others, is fundamentally tied to the first colonial developments in the Willamette Valley, and we respectfully acknowledge and honor past, present, and future Indigenous students, faculty, and staff of Willamette. Now, I would like to ask you all to please stand, those who aren't and those who are able, for the invocation delivered by the University Chaplain, Ainita Pearl Adesanya.
Holy One, Maker of all, Parent of the earth and all living things, we have gathered together again, ending and beginning, graduating and commencing, curious, excited, exhausted, hopeful, proud, anxious, and grateful. Grateful for the all-nighters, for the wins and losses, for the papers and labs, and for the theses completed. For the care packages, for scholarships, even for second chances. For the losses that we've known, and for the seeds that we've sown. And for the ways that we've grown, we are grateful. For the lessons we've learned about what matters most, for whom or for what we will stand. For the struggles we've had about who gets to say what we ask, and for what we demand. Sometimes with grace, sometimes in haste, all for love of this place. We are grateful for the lives of our friends, Violetta, Caden, and Dominic, whom we hold in our hearts and remember in silence. For the sorrow and fear, for the ones we hold dear, with a laugh and a tear, we are grateful. Amen.
Thank you, Ainita. You may all be seated. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce Kevin Smith, Chair of the Willamette University Board of Trustees, who will present our emeriti diplomas to our retiring faculty members.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the board's University Board of Trustees, I'm pleased to offer my own congratulations to all today's graduates and their families. One of the best things about being a trustee is attending commencement and sitting here looking out at all of your faces. It's a real privilege. At this time, it's my distinct honor to recognize the members of the university's faculty who have achieved emeritus status at the close of this academic year. Today, we honor 3 of the 9 retiring professors from the College of Arts and Sciences who represent the living embodiment of Willamette's motto, "Not unto ourselves alone are we born." Would Professor Karen Erebus please come forward? Karen came to Willamette in 1996 and was the first woman hired in the Environmental and Earth Sciences Department. Her colleagues say that she laid the foundation on which the department continues to grow. From day one, Karen had a vision of a department that had a broader, more engaging, interdisciplinary, and diverse understanding of environmental science. She has been tenacious in working to build and expand the department over time, and worked to connect it with other programs and departments on campus through her collaborative efforts. Karen is an innovator in the classroom, proposing new field courses, and for many years conducted a 1,400-mile tour de force of Oregon's forests, formerly known as Forest Ecology and Policy, but sometimes referred to as the Killer Trees Tour. Karen has always been known for student advising and mentoring, and her effectiveness incorporating students into her research and teaching has been instrumental in inspiring many students to follow in her footsteps. Karen lives the university's motto, and her ethic of civil and social engagement has had profound and lasting impacts. In 2001, Karen took a class on sustainability and turned it into Willamette's Sustainability Legacy. That class started as a committee of students, faculty, and administrators, and that became the basis for the academic and institutional changes for which Willamette gained national recognition through the first decade of the 21st century. Karen was critical to Willamette's acquisition and ongoing management of Xena Forest. Since Xena's acquisition in 2008, Karen has been the guiding force behind the professionalization of Willamette's management and educational uses of Xena and the expansions of its use to programs across the university. As a campus community leader, Karen has been tireless. Besides being central to our sustainability efforts, Karen has been critical to many of our study abroad initiatives. She was instrumental in establishing our exchange program in Australia, was one of the first faculty members to spend a summer teaching classes at Tokyo International University, helped start a new relationship with the United International College in China, and most recently, shepherding students in Willamette's Galway program. In recognition of her many contributions, the environmental science faculty appropriately named their Outstanding Graduate Senior Award the Karen Erebus Award in Academic Excellence. Thank you, Karen, for your many years of leadership, vision, and innovation, and for your excellence in teaching and mentoring. May you continue to be motivated by your intellectual curiosity and by your desire to teach and learn. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Professor Emeritus of Environmental Studies, Karen Erebus. Would Professor Michael Marks please come forward? Professor Marks joined Willamette in 1994 after receiving his doctorate from Cornell University and serving a year as a visiting assistant professor at the University of Wyoming. Michael is a scholar of distinction in the fields of international relations theory, international politics, organization, and European regional politics. He has published 4 books and numerous peer-reviewed journal articles and book chapters. Over recent decades, Michael has made a singular contribution to this area through his analysis of the role of metaphors in theorizing international relations. This work has drawn the attention of scholars around the world, serving as a focal point for many conference panels. Michael has served the institution well as chair of both the Politics Department and the International Studies Program. He also chaired the Teaching Enhancement Committee and the Academic Status Committee, and then following a term as chair of the Multicultural Affairs Committee, Michael led a task force on faculty, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which set the direction for many initiatives of recent years. Michael's teaching practice has always been called expert and rigorous, with generous doses of humor to help students grapple with the conceptual terrain of an analytical framework of international politics. He frequently employed the case study method to enable students to learn by role-playing and incorporated games of strategy to make tangible the theories of international political behavior. Pop culture references also are a key feature of his pedagogy, and Michael has been known to be the world's premier practitioner of the pedagogical use of The Simpsons, deploying his unparalleled command of the body of the work of Homer, Marge, Lisa, and Bart to provoke both laughter and learning among his students. I came to Willamette 15 years too early. It is clear that Professor Marks is a professor who knows that a good classroom environment is a dynamic mixture of humor, high expectations, and discussion. Thank you, Michael, for your dedication to excellence in teaching, service, and scholarship. May you continue to be rewarded for your efforts and find great satisfaction in your future endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Professor of Politics and International Studies Emeritus, Michael Marks. Would Professor Gretchen Moon please come forward? Since returning to her native Pacific Northwest in 1999 and joining Willamette after teaching in Minnesota for 12 years, Gretchen has been a valued and versatile teacher. She has played the dual role of running Willamette's Writing Center and teaching classics on Chaucer, Shakespeare, early modern drama, and literary theory, along with the college colloquium seminars on metamorphosis and composing extraordinary lives. She oversaw the growth of the Writing Center and trained and recruited scores of student consultants, developed the college colloquium writing associates program, supported faculty with writing pedagogy workshops, and assessed writing across the curriculum. Gretchen is known for her warm and supportive presence in the classroom and for being attentive to her students and their growth. Gretchen has also maintained an active scholarly presence, publishing articles in professional journals and other publications. She also co-edited Local Histories, Reading the Archives of Composition, an anthology of essays that challenge conventional beliefs about the origins of composition as an academic discipline. All the while, Gretchen continued to work on her book manuscript, Composure, Writing the Self in Women's Overland Trail Diaries, a unique study of pioneer women's diaries written on the Oregon Trail. Gretchen has been an indispensable and engaged member of our university community, serving in numerous leadership roles, including serving as the academic advisor for the Collegian newspaper, and the Chrysalis Literary Magazine. She served 2 back-to-back terms as chair of the English department and 2 terms on the faculty council, including 1 as chair. Beginning in 2013, she transitioned to a long-term administrative role in the dean's office, first for 3 years as associate dean for curriculum, and then for another 5 as associate dean for student success, a role in which she oversaw the creation and expansion of the Student Success Hub, bringing together support services to help our students thrive. Above all her duties and roles, however, Gretchen has worked day in and day out to put our students first and nurture them as leaders and as human beings. Gretchen, thank you so much for your many years of leadership, service, and dedication to Willamette. May you continue to find fulfillment and be rewarded in all you do. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Professor of Emeritus of English, Gretchen Moon. The 6 other retiring faculty members who cannot be with us today are Peter Harmer, Exercise and Health Science, Chris Harris, Theater, Kamiko Johnson, Japanese, Fran Michelle, English, Mike Nord, Music, and Fritz Ruhr, Computer Science. Wish them the very best in their retirement from Willamette and thank all of the esteemed faculty for making such a difference in the lives of our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Each year, Willamette honors individuals whose outstanding accomplishments have enriched our world. This year's candidates will be presented by Ann Nagorski, Professor of Art History and Archaeology, and by Joyce Millen, Associate Professor of Anthropology and Public Health.
President Thorsett, trustees, graduates, and guests, I am honored to present Roger P. Hall for the honorary degree, Doctor of Fine Arts, on behalf of the faculties of Willamette University. Born in Tennessee in 1943, Roger attended Whitman College and then Northwestern University in Chicago, from which he received his MA and then PhD in art history. In 1970, together with his wife, artist Bonnie Hall, Roger moved to Salem, where he began a 40-year-long career as a much-beloved professor of art history at Willamette University. His classes on Renaissance to modern, and especially American, art and architectural history were legendary among generations of Willamette students. His many teaching awards include the Mortarboard Professor of the Year, the Case Carnegie Oregon Professor of the Year, and the United Methodist Excellence in Teaching Award. In the words of the late Bill Braden, Professor of English, like Anne Sullivan, who taught Helen Keller to apprehend the world through language, Roger has been a miracle worker, teaching literally thousands of Willamette students to see freshly and think visually. Perhaps Roger's greatest legacy, however, was the vision that he had in the early 1990s for the creation of an art museum at Willamette University, which would provide present and future students with impactful opportunities to study collections and exhibitions of important historic and contemporary art, to learn about museum operations through internships, to engage in hands-on original research, and to exhibit their own artwork in a professional context. In 1994, this was the vision that Roger pitched to Willamette's Board of Trustees. And in 1996, thanks to a generous gift from Hallie Ford, the university purchased the 1960s office building on the corner of State and Cottage Streets. And then, together with colleagues, Roger oversaw its transformation into our very own Hallie Ford Museum of Art. Since the Hallie Ford Museum opened in 1998, Roger has served as the senior faculty curator. In this capacity, he has been instrumental in the formation of a truly great collection of historic and modern art from the Pacific Northwest. Roger has also curated dozens of exhibitions of art by regional artists, with a particular focus on those who were active in Oregon in the second half of the 20th century. Through these exhibitions and the numerous brilliant books and brochures that he wrote to accompany them, as well as through the creation of the Pacific Northwest Artists Archives, now located in the Hatfield Library, Roger has made a lasting contribution to our knowledge and understanding of regional art, while laying a strong foundation for future scholarship. Roger's legacy also extends significantly beyond the Willamette campus, where he has now worked for more than 50 years. In Salem, he is widely known for his efforts to preserve the city's historic art and architecture. His work outside of Willamette has also included service in various capacities in major state cultural institutions, such as the Oregon Arts Commission and the Oregon Council for the Humanities. In 1999, Roger was honored as the recipient of the prestigious Oregon Governor's Art Award. President Thorset, I am pleased to present Roger P. Hall for the honorary degree, Doctor of Fine Arts.
Roger Hall, I am pleased to bestow upon you the honorary degree Doctor of Fine Arts with all of the rights, duties, and privileges thereto appertaining.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Anne, for that wonderfully positive review. President Thorset, members of the Board of Trustees, members of the faculty, members of the class of 2022, family, and friends, it is my great pleasure to receive the honorary doctorate of fine arts, which comes at the conclusion of my 50-year engagement with Willamette University. My association with the university began in 1970 when my wife Bonnie and I arrived in Salem, and I began my teaching career as a very young, very green, very nervous assistant professor of art history. Got to keep my hat on here. 50 years later, in December 2021, I completed my last curatorial projects over at the Hallie Ford Museum of Art. Throughout the 5 decades, Willamette and I got on very well most of the time, reasonably well the rest of the time. Willamette provided an environment that was flexible enough for me to thrive in the classroom and in broader campus projects. I was free to think up ideas and act on them, often successfully, sometimes fruitlessly, but always with a sense that my endeavors were acceptable and even appreciated. My hope for the members of the class of 2022 is that Willamette has been similarly supportive and stimulating for each of you, despite the restrictions imposed by the pandemic, which forced students and faculty members alike to be downright heroic. I hope, too, that in the professional and creative environments that lie in your future, you will enjoy similarly productive circumstances as you establish careers, avocations, and productive and enjoyable lives. I will need to leave the stage at this point, but I wish the class of 2022 all the best in every way. I appreciate the opportunity to be part of your celebration. Thank you very much.
President Thorsett, trustees, guests, and graduates. On behalf of the faculties of Willamette University, I am honored to introduce Jada Doyen McKenna and to present her for the Honorary Doctorate of Public Service. Jada Doyen McKenna is an influential global leader and a self-proclaimed food security geek, an outspoken champion for social and environmental justice. Jada grew up in Washington, D.C. and in Connecticut. As a child, she dreamed of one day running a Fortune 500 company. After high school, she began to prepare herself to realize this dream by completing a BA at Harvard College and an MBA at Harvard Business School. Most of her business school classmates went on to become business and finance leaders, charged with helping very successful corporations to become even more successful. Initially, Jada took this same path, working at McKinley & Company, American Express, and General Electric, where she gained valuable skills in strategy formation, innovation, and management. But then Jada took stock of her life and began listening carefully to her inner voice, which urged her to follow a different path, based foremost on her core values. And what she valued more than anything else was the prospect that every human being, no matter where they come from, no matter their background, would have enough food to eat to be able to thrive in this world. So, honoring her inner voice and being led by her core values, she committed herself to a life of public service. She began by working in agricultural development at the Gates Foundation in Seattle. In that role, she collaborated with small farmers in resource-poor areas of the world, providing tools and opportunities to boost farmers' productivity, increase their incomes, and build better lives for their families. Later, during the Obama administration, she was called to Washington, D.C., to help lead the United States Agency for International Development's Bureau for Food Security, and to help establish the multi-billion-dollar Feed the Future program, which is the United States government's global hunger and food security initiative. After years playing an instrumental role in government, Jada returned to the non-governmental sector, this time as Chief Operating Officer, first for Habitat for Humanity International and then for CARE International, where she oversaw programming and global operations in 90 countries. Then, in 2020, Mercy Corps, located right up the road in Portland, selected Jada out of a pool of more than 500 candidates to become its chief executive officer. Today, as Mercy Corps' CEO, Jada leads a massive team of some 5,600 people who hail from and work in many of the world's most fragile regions. Mercy Corps' global team supports 37 million people, providing immediate relief in crisis situations and innovative structural change to prevent future famines and water crises, and to face other critical challenges. Yet, as CEO of Mercy Corps, Jada knows that humanitarian work alone will not redress the problems of poverty and hunger. She knows that advocacy must accompany this work, evidence-based advocacy, persistent advocacy. Today, Jada's advocacy for global food security takes place at the highest echelons of national and international power. For example, this past October, Jada provided testimony to the United States House Select Committee on Climate Crisis, powerfully asserting, quote, "While climate change affects every country on every continent, its effects are not shared equally. People already burdened by poverty, violence, and hunger suffer the harshest consequences while having the least ability to cope," end quote. And just this past week, Jada testified before the Senate Appropriations Committee to explain how the dual challenges of COVID-19 and climate shocks are now being compounded by the conflict in Ukraine. In that hearing, Jada boldly urged Congress to act in haste to provide supplemental funding for international food security programs that would strengthen food systems and ultimately save lives among the 323 million people worldwide who are currently facing crisis levels of hunger. Fortunately, when Jada speaks, people listen. She is ever mindful of the ethics of giving and the vital importance of promoting self-sufficiency and self-determination. She recognizes complexity, though is never stifled by it. She works in pragmatic solidarity with all the people she serves. She is driven by her core values to leverage her considerable talents in service to others. Jada embodies Willamette's motto and mission. She looks beyond her own wants and needs, and she turns knowledge into action, leading a life of achievement, contribution, and meaning. I cannot think of a more deserving person to receive an honorary doctorate of public service and to present Willamette's 2022 commencement address. President Thorsit, I present to you Jada Doyen McKenna for the Honorary Doctorate of Public Service.
Jada Doyen McKenna, I am pleased to bestow upon you the honorary degree, Doctor of Public Service, with all the rights, duties, and privileges thereto appertaining, and to present you to this audience as Willamette University's 2022 College of Arts and Sciences commencement speaker.
Thank you so much, President Thorsit and Professor Millen, for that warm introduction. Trustees, faculty, proud parents, family members, and friends and supporters, and of course, you, the marvelous graduates of the class of 2022. I am honored and privileged to be here today to speak and be a part of this wonderful moment at Willamette University. Congratulations to you all. Graduates, this is your time.
Your time to celebrate the great accomplishments you have achieved at this university and in your life, and to ponder the future. 4 years ago, as you floated candles down the beautiful mill stream here to symbolize the start of your journey at Willamette University, you each had your own hopes and aspirations for your years of study. You also had personal aspirations, and maybe one of those aspirations was to join a naked run that you'd seen during the Bearcat days. If so, kudos to you if you made it happen. By attending Willamette, each of you had the wisdom to choose a university that recognizes through its deeply held motto that while each of us follows our own path, we do not do so alone or only for ourselves. That we are all connected to each other, to the generations who came before us and to the generations who will follow. And today, as each of you looks to your own future, your own path, some of you will have it perfectly mapped out. Others may be sitting here just a little freaked out and wondering what you will do tomorrow. And that is all perfectly okay. 20-something years after my own graduation, I could stand here and tell you that I always knew I wanted to be serving others, that I would apply the skills I learned in business to lead a large global organization like Mercy Corps, or that I would work with communities around the world, helping them to break a cycle of poverty, rebuild after disaster, and forge new paths of prosperity. But that would not be true at all. I had no idea that my career would lead me to construction sites, building homes for communities in need with Habitat for Humanity, to different African countries with the Gates Foundation, and to work with farmers around the world as part of the Obama administration. When I sat where you are today, I had never spent a single second on a construction site. And my time around farmers had been limited to the very suburban visit to the pumpkin patch at Halloween. I am certain that years from now, that you too will be doing things that you never imagined, in places you never expected, and with a community of people that you haven't met yet, and likely with technologies and organizations that do not even exist today. My hope and wish for each one of you is that you will find the thing that makes you come alive. That contribution that only you can make to the world, to leave it a better place than it is today. If you can recall, this might be easier for some of your parents and supporters, if you can recall pictures you may have seen from the 60s and 70s of Black students engaged in protest or wearing big afros and wide pants, then you can imagine what my parents were like. When they graduated from college, they were preparing life as two Black Americans newly empowered by the Civil Rights Movement. My father had integrated his college football team, and my mother had been in the first integrated class of her high school. A whole new world of opportunity that had not been available to their parents was open to them, and they were eager to take it and ultimately pass down even more opportunities to me and to my siblings. We were always aware that we had choices that they had not had, and that our duty was to go and create spaces for others like us behind us. That's quite the buildup, right? However, when I finished my own studies, I was wondering what my opportunities would be just after September 11th and the onset of a major recession. When we are children, we think the path ahead is straightforward, but it rarely is. Graduates of Willamette University, when I look at you today, I see a very special generation. This is the first generation of graduates born in the 21st century. And yes, parents and faculty, that makes me feel old as well. Graduates, you are entirely of this century, and the lives that you lead will shape this century. And we know already that it is a century that has faced great challenges. Over the past 4 years, you have demonstrated your resilience, enduring and coming through a global pandemic to be here today. And as you look to your future, you are going into a world of change and disruption. Dark clouds continue to hang over us. The world feels heavy. The ongoing impact of COVID, war and instability, poverty and inequality here in the US and around the world, the peril of climate crisis. But it's not all gloom and doom, and I have some very good news for you. You and your generation are the brightness amidst the dark clouds. You are the bright future that will shine through the clouds we face, and you will now take into the world what you have learned here and what you know to be true within yourself to forge a path ahead. As you take your first steps on your path, I want you to know that in spite of the many challenges we face as a world, each of us, each of you, can and will have a positive impact on the people in the world around you. As you begin your path, I want to share with you a quote from Howard Thurman, a prominent theologian who played a leading role in many social justice movements. I've turned to this quote again and again in my life, and it has helped me to find my own path and stay true to it when I risk getting lost. And the quote is this: "There is something in every one of you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. It is the only true guide you will ever have, and if you cannot hear it, you will all your life spend your days on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls." Willamette graduates, I challenge you to find and listen to the sound of the genuine inside yourself. How do you hear it? I want to offer you 3 ways that have helped me to hear the sound of the genuine in my own life, and I hope will prompt you to think about what your ways to hear that sound for you would be. Number 1, embrace opportunities to get out of your comfort zone. Try new things, say yes to unexpected invitations, and be okay with making a fool of yourself sometimes. It happens. When I joined Habitat for Humanity as the organization's chief operating officer, I was excited to bring all the experiences I've gained to an organization and a mission that I deeply believed in. I knew plenty about what organizations need and what makes them tick, and I felt confident that I could help Habitat fulfill their mission. Then, the CEO of Habitat, my new boss, called me with some exciting news. On my very first day of work, I would get to have the classic Habitat volunteer experience on a construction site with their most famous volunteer, former President Jimmy Carter. My nerves exploded. I knew nothing about the world of construction, and in fact, I am the last person that anyone would call for assistance with anything handy. So, President Carter, the humanitarian president, the only president not to take us into war, the man who, after his presidency, devoted himself to spreading democracy and tackling disease, a man who spent his spare time, even in his 90s, which he was at that time, it seemed, building houses for the unhoused. I was terrified. So, what do I do when I need to get ready for a big occasion? I went to the hair salon. And with that, I felt super ready. My outfit, check. Hair done. But when I arrived at the construction site, I think some of you know it's coming, what was the first thing they gave me? A hat. A hard hat. Right on top of my beautifully done hair. And as I turned around in my new, ugly, it was not cute like this one, an ill-fitting hard hat, who did I see but Jimmy Carter? Not in his role as former President Carter, nice old man holding hands with his lovely wife, but as Master Woodworker Carter. A man who made the cross for the altar of his church, a passionate and expert builder. It's fair to say that he was a pretty hard taskmaster on that site, and he could pretty quickly size up who knew one end of a table saw from another. And it wasn't me. And I think you can already guess that I was not on Master Woodworker Carter's top team that day. When I went to bed that night, I'll admit I felt pretty uneasy. It hadn't been the most inspiring start to my new job. I had felt horribly inept and uncomfortable all day, and I couldn't help but think that I'd focused on the wrong things in my preparation. Maybe I should have gotten a lesson in basic construction tools, how to hold a hammer. But here's the thing. The very next day, I got up again, no less determined to bring my skills to an organization that I believed in, and I literally dusted myself off and got back to work, except behind a desk this time, which I was very happy to see. So get out of your comfort zone, and if you make a fool of yourself, you will recover and get going again. Advice number 2, embrace your humanity and put people first. Sometimes we miss or ignore our ability to connect with a wide range of individuals. There's so many forces asking us to stay in our country, in our city, in our rural area, with people who are like us, whatever way we identify. Many people tell us to fear those who don't look like us, sound like us, or who hold different beliefs and opinions. The great thing about putting yourself outside your comfort zone is that it helps you to realize that we are all one human family. We all have our own unique personalities, quirks, and preferences. I have them, you have them. They are part of what makes you, you. Part of my own career has been learning to accept and encourage that for myself and others. When I first started in the worker world right after college, I went to work for McKinsey, known and famous worldwide for their consulting services. And in my first performance review, my boss told me that I had a problem. My problem was the same trait I'd had since the 3rd grade. I giggle. That's right, when your clients are paying millions of dollars for your services, it's apparently not reassuring when you start giggling in a presentation. So that's my thing. It has been ever since I was in 3rd grade. And when I got my feedback 3 weeks into what I thought was my dream job, it crushed me. But you know, in the 20 years since, I've come to realize there is nothing wrong with my giggle, and there's everything human about it. For my son, who is on the autism spectrum, I am trying to create a home and a world for him where he is also accepted and celebrated for who he is. My experience with him has also given me a greater perspective on working with others, seeing the whole person and checking my biases. Why do I need people I meet with to be on camera? So this person isn't quite like me. Okay, let me get over that and see them and hear them for who they are. And maybe they'll do the same for me, giggles and all. What has struck me most through all of my work and in all of my travels is that for all of our apparent differences, most people around the world have the same hopes and desires. Adults want their kids and grandkids to go to school, to have better lives than they did, to bring honor to their family. People dream and they want to do more. In other words, to be their best selves and have the grace to find out what makes them come alive. We all have the space to give each other grace. My third and final, and really most important lesson in my journey so far is this: know your values and embrace them, those things that you will never regret spending time on. For me, those two values have been family and service to others. Neither ever gets old or boring for me. I have never, ever heard anyone say that they regretted going to their child's soccer practice, mentoring a new employee, or volunteering for a cause that they care about. I have many friends who have been very successful in conventional terms, money, and for some of them, even fame. But increasingly, I find many of them asking me how they can spend some of their time, energy, and money giving back. They want more human connection, to know that they have left a mark, and to know that they are living a life connected to their values. You see, for them and for many people, they have realized that truly doing well must also involve helping others to do well. At Mercy Corps, I and my 5,600 colleagues around the world, we have the privilege of getting up every morning and figuring out how we can do more to help communities around the world to cope in the face of natural disasters, conflict, and climate change, but to also forge a new path to prosperity and ultimately thrive. But you don't need to work at a nonprofit to be of service to others. We also work with businesses, governments, individual supporters, artists, anyone who shares a common belief in a future where everyone can prosper. A belief that while talent is evenly distributed throughout the world, opportunity is not. And that each and every one of us can do something to extend opportunities to those who have fewer of them than we do. It's a belief in what I like to call a bigger us. An us that is not defined narrowly by who we share town, city, or country with, or who we share political beliefs, or who we share common backgrounds or past with. Beyond who looks like us or who loves us, beyond borders and divisions that too many people around the world try to make deeper today. As declared in Willamette University's motto, we cannot, must not be only for ourselves alone. The challenges that we face, that your generation will face and solve, global pandemics, insecurity, climate crisis, yes, those challenges are global. And in the face of those challenges, there is no us and them. There's only us, all of us. So when I was sitting in your shoes 20-something years ago, wearing a rented cap and gown, I didn't know what I would be doing. But what I have learned by following that sound of the genuine in myself is that connecting communities around the world with resources and opportunity would be the absolute thing that has made me come alive. Open to others and seeing things through their eyes. True to myself through it all, and always, always listening to the sound of the genuine in myself. To hear your own genuine, allow yourself to be uncomfortable, and don't be afraid to make a fool of yourself. Embrace your humanity and give space and grace to yourself and others. Challenge yourself to name and stay close to your values, to understand those ways that you will never, ever regret spending your time. Listen to yourself. Listen to the world around you and discover who you are. Find your purpose, devote yourself to it, and roll up your sleeves. Don't be afraid to fail. You will learn from that failure and you will get up again. You will do great things. Willamette graduates, what a joy, what a privilege, what an honor it is for me to be here today, right now. Because right now, this is your time.
Look at all these faces here, many friends we know.
How the days have hurried by, and now it's time to go. As we leave this time and place, those we hold so dear, let's reflect on what we've done throughout these special years. And I'll sing you this song as you go on your way. How I wish that we never would part, we never would part. think about you, friend, and I know the memories will never fade away. So when I feel all alone, I'll think about this day, and I'll sing you this song as you go on your way. How I wish that we never would part, we never would part. I've been blessed with the days that I've had here with you, so I leave with a song in my heart, and I sing you this song as you go on your way. How I wish that we never would part, we never would part. I've been blessed with the days that I've had here with you, so I leave with a song in my heart, I leave this place with a song in my heart, my heart.
How about another thank you for our singers? Beautiful. Thank you so much. And now I want to introduce Lisa Landerman, Vice President for Student Affairs, who will introduce our student speaker.
Good afternoon. It is my privilege to introduce our student speaker representing the class of 2022, Miles DeShulo. And you were worried you wouldn't get any love. I think you got some. Miles is from Pelham, New York, where he attended Pelham Memorial High School. Miles is a sociology major with a minor in psychology. At Willamette, Miles has served as an opening days leader and was a running back on Willamette's football team. Miles is interested in public policy and social research. He has worked as a public health policy fellow at the Greater Good Initiative, a youth-led policy think tank with a mission to create sustainable and effective policy solutions, and as a health policy intern at Oregon State Public Interest Research Group. When asked about his points of pride, Miles said that he is most proud to be a third-generation Black college graduate. After graduation, Miles will attend graduate school to get a master's in public policy and spend time with his dogs. He is interested in nonprofit management and hopes to use his education and perspective to open doors for others. Class of 2022, I present to you your student speaker, Miles DeShulo.
All right, everybody take a deep breath real quick. Let it out. One more time, deep breath. Let it out. All right, we're good now. Personally, that was just as much for me as it was for you, so appreciate it. You know, I think if I'm breathing, I'm living, and nothing makes me feel more alive than moments like this. So hello, my name is Miles. I'm from 3,000 miles away from the great state of New York. I'm the son of Jessica, Michael, and the stepson of Tom. If you could give them a hand and embarrass them, I'd appreciate that a whole lot. All right. So me personally, I try not to get in my own head too much, so I've really come to thrive off of criticism and feedback. So if there's something in this speech that speaks to you, please feel free to clap, feel free to snap, or even feel free to boo. This is not my first speech, and I sure as hell hope it won't be my last, so I welcome anything that's going to help me get better at this. To be a work in progress is not a detriment, rather an asset. As we prepare to depart this home that we've known for some 4 years, there's been a great deal of emphasis on life after Willamette. This river that holds our youthful vigor is flowing into adulthood's vast seas of realism. And with this vastness comes potential, and with potential comes choices. While some of us may fall into graduate school or slide into budding careers, the overall pressure can be summed by the following question: what do you want to do for a living? Now, as someone that's taken my fair share of neuroscience courses, I know that these 86 billion neurons and 30 trillion cells that we consist of are just far too beautiful, far too complex, to be defined by a short string of words that represent what we do from the hours of 9 to 5. These things that make us human are not what we do for a living. If you are looking for value, and if you are looking for purpose, look past occupations and look past labels. As some of the only creatures with a sense of self on this planet, we should be defined and come to value our experiences, our feelings, and our stories. These things that make us human are what we do during our living. So, to the class of 2022, here are a few things I hope you find during your living. I hope that your wanderlust carries you to those places that you've only seen in pictures. I hope that you find less home in locations and more home in people. I hope you get a few best friends that pick you up when you are at your absolute worst, and I hope you get the chance to do the same for them. I hope you give yourself the grace that you give others, and I hope you never settle for less than you're worth. I hope that you laugh so hard that your ribs cramp. I hope that you scream and cry, and then I hope you learn from it. I hope that when fear takes refuge in your heart, you continue to march forward. If you doubt that you can do this during your living, let me remind you how much you've endured. We graduated college during a pandemic. We endured wildfires, we endured violence, and we endured loss. When life dealt us the worst possible cards, we stood up and said we'd like a whole new hand. Sometimes we were met with silence, but when the world did not take issue with our troubles, we took issue with the world. Still, in this turbulent, turbulent world, we rise. Now, because of this, sometimes I must remind myself, while each step may feel motionless, and with time each step could feel meaningless, to the outside world we have leapt over oceans. Progress is progress. Movement is movement, no matter how small. Even if you cannot notice, you must remember to be kind to yourself. Please, take it from me. I arrived here 1,377 days ago, already a college dropout at the age of 18. Now, on this day, I salute him and the other doubted versions of ourself that no one could envision sitting here celebrated today. To quote Whitman, "You are here. The powerful play goes on, and you have been asked to contribute a verse. To crystallize the sum of experience and action into the lasting reverse of one's life is a daring and a difficult task, but if you are looking for a place to start, please start your verse with love. Love is loud, love is brave, love is patient, and love is kind. May our verses and our actions be guilty of the love we wish was showered upon us. If you fill the souls of others, yours will surely follow." Now, we would be naive to not know the conditions of the world that we inhabit. It is a world with increasing levels of prejudice and violence, injustice and division, but this is a world that we will one day lead. We know that in this moment, perhaps more than any other moment before us, beacons are needed. Beacons are needed to cast through this darkness. But I've been told that joy cometh in the morning. Let us be the light that brings the morning that we were promised. This light may be a flicker the type that clears the snow off a neighbor's driveway, the type that bails a family together, or this light might be the never-yielding beam, the one that teaches humanity to tame fire for a second time. But please remember this once more: progress is progress, movement is movement, and it may not always be linear. We'll all have our own oceans to leap over, oceans that are varying widths and varying depths. And when that time comes, please remember all that you've done these past 4 years and what an ocean this was itself to leap over. You've done it before, and I know you'll do it again. Be kind to yourself. If you will be the light after all, the illumination must come from within. Please be kind to yourself, and the morning will come. Thank you.
Miles, thank you. So you guys ready for this, huh? Ready to start? The candidates for all degrees in course will be presented to the President by the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Ruth Feingold.
Will the candidates for the degrees in course please stand?
Stand. No.
President Thorsit, these persons have been recommended by the College of Arts and Sciences faculty as having met all the conditions for graduation from Willamette University. On behalf of the College of Arts and Sciences faculty, I recommend these candidates be awarded their degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Willamette University and by the State of Oregon, and upon recommendation of the faculty, it is my pleasure to confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science with all of the rights, duties, and privileges thereto appertaining. As evidence thereof, you will receive the diploma of graduation bearing the seal of the university and the signatures of the proper officers of the corporation. Congratulations, graduates.
Keaton Patrick Adams. Delaney Kai Russell Agadon. David Amour. Maxwell Marcus Anderson. Abby Louise Anderson. Oliver F. Anderson. Jennifer Caitlin Antonsen. Juana Arias Cuellar. Vaughn Jackson Arjavac. Andrew Aquilino Arzaga. Danielle Nicole Ione. Dakota Lee Barksdale. Rowan Jean Barton. Spencer Batut. Giovanni Battista, summa cum laude. William Calder Bertolotti. Jake Ari Burkel. Lauren Elizabeth Bishop. Emma Catherine Blackburn. Baden Brown. Nathan Alexander Brown. Delaney Kevin Buchanan. Lauren Louise Birchenow. Trevor J. Burrows. Jeanette Peña Cabrera. Lexi Alexis Lynn Camacho, Flor del Rio Campos, Emma Kate Canchola, Christina Elena Chapa, Catherine Y. Chu, Daniel Joseph Sina, Lily Claire Clancy, Ethan David Clausen, Taya Cody cum laude, Cameron Robert Colip, Jasmine Puntele Palacios, Connor Michael Cordes, Arlo Benjamin Portel, Samantha Cortes Garcia, Cassie Kostler, Brooke Cox, cum laude, Perrin Crespi Funderburk, Grace Crookham Guy, Brandon Philip Kokasi, Austin James Cummings, Noah Gray Dantes, Ren Daubert, Robert Alexander Bradshaw Dougherty, Austin Pierce Davis, Bailey Denise Davis, Carmela Ivy Davis, Miles Kingsley Linton DeShulo, Philip Andrew Dougherty, Michelle Doty, Preston Lewis Doyle, Alana TJ Duong, Kelly Dyer cum laude, Adriana Escorcia Lopez, Angel Adrian Espinoza Robles, Jesse Lee Evans, Jeremy Tobias Falk, Julia Rose Fecto, Nathaniel David Felton, Abigail Reese Ferguson, Celeste Ferguson, Oakley Fielder, Kilani M. Fiercetoes, Ethan Zachary Fischel, Cole Vance Fisher, Ronan Fitzsimmons Bray, summa cum laude, David Flanagan, Jewel Evelina Fleckenstein, Natalie Ann Ford, Kathleen Elizabeth Forrest, Aiden Ambrose Fox, magna cum laude, Amanda Nicole France, Anne Marie Fritz, James Michael Fryer, Josue Javier Fuentos Ventura, Gilad Furman, Aiden Michael Gallagher, Ramon Garcia Jr., Georgia Marie Gardner and friend, Jack Ryan Garver, magna cum laude, Camille Jolie Gibney, cum laude, Victoria Christine Glidden, Joanna Gold, Adina Shoshana Goldstein, Grace Goodyear, Sophia Genevieve Gourlay. Thomas M. Gray. Andrea Estelle Griffin. Catherine Olivia Groby. Taylor Gruber. Celeste Gutentag. Dana Carson Hamilton. Jack Loring Hanscom. Chance John Harp. Jalen M. Hawes. Shinji Kweh. Peyton Healy. Carson Daniel Herrick. Gabriel Ann Hewitt. Matthew Hildreth. Bailey May Hilmick. Amelie Kate Hodges. Abigail Home. Charlotte Holmes. Megan Allison Hook. Madison Laura Horning, summa cum laude. Nathaniel I. Howard. Stephen Edward Howley. Chapwin Huang. Matthew Chase Eiling. Kayla Hanai Iwata. Benjamin Thomas Jaffe. Anna Rose James. Ken Johnson. Anna Christine Jones. Daniel Joseph Jung. Madeline Louise Kaplan. Juichi Kawasaki. Alana Elizabeth Kelly. Laura Isabel Kelly. Madeline Serena Kelm, magna cum laude. Andrew Michael Keswick. Madeline Lily Corey. Andrew Kibbe. Natalie Marie Klotz. Alexander Gunter Knor. Emily Korn, summa cum laude. Connor Benson Christad. Brianna C. Kurtenbach. Aiden Kuykendall. Isabella May Lamb. Riley Langford. Zachary Thomas Loria. Aiden James Lawrence Devine. Camille J. Lawson, cum laude. Surya Rainwater Lee. Piper Gabrielle Lair. Sevilla Vanuhi Leonard. Hattie B. Lewis, magna cum laude. Clarissa Lydia Morales Lincoln. Patrick Donald Livingston. Cole Ronan Lockard. Nia Raquel Lopez Salmons. McKenna Connor Lynch. Amelia Hart Moss, magna cum laude. Aubrey Machezik. Allison Grace Olson Mackey, magna cum laude. Aliyah Sangster Mahmood, cum laude. Devin Hallie Nathan Mandela. Gianna Marie Marchesi. Raul Marquez Guerrero. Isabel Duval Martinez. Athena J. Alexander Mark Madison. Gabriel William Maycock. Marcos Maza, cum laude. Peter Jacob McCabe. Brady John McDevitt. Eleanor Jane McDonough. Edward Joseph McKenna. Carter William McMahon. Jordan Allen McGiveron. Raul Antonio Mejia Rodriguez. Avery Karina Mickelson. Justin Roy Miller. Lauren K. Miller. Shione Mochizuki, cum laude. Laura Montana. Elissa Violet Nicole Morales. Alexandra Lee Morel. Christian Moreno Tovar. Lucia Justine Mosca. Sarah Elizabeth Monk, cum laude. Sergio Amadeo Munoz. Madison Quinn Monroe. Carter Elizabeth Nolan Murphy. Molly Alana Murphy Brown. Diego Murphy Mendez. Paige Nicole Murray. Yewon Na, magna cum laude. Jaden Nagaishi. Nicole Allison Nagel. Amber Naomi Nakata. Ian Nairhood. Sienna Keolani Maki Nellis. Amy Nicole Nelson, magna cum laude. Kelsey A. Nelson, magna cum laude. Edgar Navarez Luchuga. Evelyn Newburn, cum laude. Blaze Newman. Pascal C. Nicoletti. Anlini Clara Nithya Paran. Tomas Nonox. Samantha Nurmi, cum laude, and Newton. Kelly Dana O'Brien. Bryce O'Connor. Elena Maria Osana Galen. Alejandra Alicia Osuna Sola. Elisa Pinelli. Devin R. Patterson. Roberto Antonio Garmin Perez. Skylar R. Perlichek. Matthew David Permit. Audrey Piacek. Isabella May Pierce. Corinne Amelia Pearson. Carson Philip Pies. Miranda Pyros. Matthew Joseph Pizacane. Mayeli Irana Polanco Castillo. Ciel Catherine Pope. Kara Tessalin Poptine. Mackenzie Catherine Potter Moen. Sarah Louise Powell. Tamayera Proctor. Jessica Nadezhda Wecker-Radcliffe. Albert Ramon Jr. Anayeli Ramos. Andrew Michael Raymond. Lauren Redkay. Lauren Eileen Regan. Gabriel Haskell Regenball. Michael Abraham Reyes. Anthony Richard Bassett. David Patrick Richardson, magna cum laude. Matthew Richter. Alexandra Roden. Myra L. Romanoff. Blake Frederick Rose. Jordan Elizabeth Rue, cum laude. Kira Ray Saito. Axel Sanchez. Olivia Sanchez. Vanessa Leilani Sanders. AJ Claire Sargent. Ryan Soto. Rachel Hannah Pauline Schmidt. Adrian Francis Schnee. James Schock. Neve Anya Sheehy. Allison B. Silverstein, cum laude. Zuri Sizemore. Benjamin Frederick Skiles. Daniel Eric Smith, cum laude. Benjamin Cooper Snell. Jaron Reese Solomon. Dylan Edward Sparks. Larson Trigve Stalder. Eleanor Grace Stanford. Allegra Bell Starr. East Steelman. Cassandra Mary Kwan Stouffer. Elizabeth Susan Strand. Dylan James Street. Alba Isabel Tapia. Tristan Taylor Thomas. Carmen Denali Thompson. Dominic Chase Torres. Jadlyn Lola Noel Tong. Billy Ullman. Exine Felice Alicia Navarrete Vandenberg. Henry Albert Weitenhans. Thomas Joseph Boylan Werner, magna cum laude. Hunter Vetter. Polly Vishner. Isaac Visas. Eric Anthony Waldichuk. Alexandra Noel Walker. Bridget Riley Walker. Jonathan Watts. Shane Calais Waiton. Minway. Rose Christina Wilkinson. Sydney Lori Wilson, summa cum laude. Thomas Henry Worth. Dylan J. Witt. Marley Marie Witt. Kelsey Midori Wong. Sophia Jane Wood. Julia Wright. Savannah Joy Wright. Morgan Ayako Catherine Yamane, cum laude. Ivy Yo, cum laude. And Mina Joe.
Family and friends, I present to you the Willamette University College of Arts and Sciences class of 2022. Graduates, you are wearing the mortarboard that represents your scholarly achievements, and this is the moment that you should move your tassels from right to left, signifying the completion of your degrees. And then please be seated. Each of you has traveled your own road to this point, sometimes with detours along the way. Some of you started somewhere else before transferring to Willamette. Some even entered with the class of 2023 and then raced to a 3-year finish. But whenever you first came to Willamette, you became Bearcats. Today, in this Willamette's 180th year, we celebrate the fact that as alumni, you will always be Bearcats. Yay, Alumni Association. One thing that none of us could have predicted would ever be in doubt when I first met most of you in August 2018 under a big tent on the quad was that we might be in doubt about where this ceremony would take place today. Now, after we missed 2 in-person commencements to the magic of Zoom, I'm so glad that I wasn't worrying 4 years ago. I was wrong about so many things in the last 4 years. I certainly didn't have global pandemic on my bingo card, or for that matter, a 100-year heat wave, or a once-in-a-generation ice storm, or weeks of orange, unbreathable air. But here we are together 4 years later, and it's hard to express just how happy it makes me to be in this tent today for the first time in 3 years. Joy cometh in the morning indeed. There is such joy in our ability to again gather in community with friends and family, with faculty and staff, and with fellow students to celebrate your perseverance and, most of all, your terrific accomplishments. At Willamette, we define our mission as preparing our graduates to turn knowledge into action. So in a way, what we celebrate today isn't really what you've learned and done while you've been enrolled here as undergraduates. What we celebrate is what you will do out there in the world as Willamette alumni. 4 years ago, you entered college at a time when our nation was divided already in ways that I had not seen before in my lifetime. I was disturbed by public violence and the return to prominence of the symbols and rhetoric of 20th century racism and bigotry. Those challenges are as evident today as they were then, and in many ways the pandemic has sharpened our understanding of the fragility of our economy and our social safety net for the most vulnerable among us. On a global scale, the current crisis has brought into focus both the importance and the complexity of addressing what we sometimes call the wicked problems, not just global public health and food security, but economic security, climate change, continuing war and conflict, and advancing the rights of women and LGBTQ people and racial and religious minorities, both here in the United States and in countries around the world. But as I told you 4 years ago, I am, at heart, an optimist. And I believe that universities like Willamette are fundamentally optimistic enterprises. They are established and sustained on the premise that education is our best path to a better future. You leave Willamette with two great gifts. The first is a first-rate liberal education that has prepared you to tackle complex challenges, to work in diverse community, to lead in uncertain times. The second gift is the gift of disruption. The usually obvious first steps into the workforce, the well-trodden paths others have followed into the world, have for the last few years seemed to be a little bit rockier, the footing perhaps a little less certain. But as you take your knowledge and your skills and you think about what you want to accomplish, about the action that you want to take in the world, you have an amazing opportunity. For many people of my generation, the questions in our minds in the last 2.5 years have been, how do we return to normal? We've had commitments to important institutions like Willamette itself and to protecting and preserving those institutions, seeing them through the crisis. We've had the unexpected but rewarding work of figuring out how to keep teaching and learning vibrant and alive while keeping this community safe. Many of us, and I know the faculty are with me on this, are more than a little bit exhausted. And we're looking forward to not waking up each morning wondering just when things will get back to normal. You, though, you graduates, you now have the freedom in the weeks, the months, the years ahead to do something more than return this world to normal. You have the opportunity to build new institutions. Having experienced social distancing, you can build a society that leaves no one truly alone. Having seen just how connected our world really is, you can lift up and dignify the humanity of all people, however different or distant from us they might seem. In short, you, the class of 2022, have been called not to restore normalcy, but to build a better and more just world. And you don't face this challenge alone. You are all Bearcats together, and I would predict that in the years ahead, the disruptions of 2020, 2021, and 2022 will all fade in importance as you recall the shared experiences that you had together here at Willamette. You will always be part of this university, your alma mater. We will take pride in your successes. We will remember you. We may tell stories about you. And you will remember this place and your professors, and you will remember each other. Stay in touch with each other. Reach out to other alumni for support, and be an alum who is there for future students. And I will say even more strongly than I usually do, come back for reunions. Continue to nurture your Willamette friendships. It is hard where you're sitting today to imagine or to perhaps believe the depth of meaning that you will one day draw from sharing this arc of a lifetime with the people who you knew well when you were young. But for now, class of 2022, as we bring this celebration to a close, let me bestow upon you the traditional Willamette President's Blessing. When you depart from this commonwealth of learning, may your life bring you some work of noble note. May you find meaning in your commitment to others, and may your memories of Willamette University be undying. Good luck and best wishes to you all.
This concludes the commencement exercises of this 180th year at Willamette University, but I think before our recessional, you all have one more cheer in you, is that right? Congratulations. Wonderful. For the student recessional, delegates from the Willamette University Alumni Association and alumni volunteer leaders will lead our graduates out of the tent, symbolizing the fact that you are no longer students, but members of the Willamette alumni community. After the benediction, please allow the graduates to completely exit the tent before you proceed to greet them. And now, please stand as you are able for the benediction, which will be delivered by Chaplain Ainida Pearl Adesanya.
Graduates, you have blessed our lives here at Willamette over the past 4 or more years, 3 or more years, I just found out, with your passion and your persuasion, your goals and your gifts, your research and your responsibility, your energy and your intellect, your prods and your posts. Let us offer you one last blessing to send you on your way. May you find in these uncertain times the permission to try something new, do something unexpected. In the thought of Dr. Howard Thurman, to find what makes you come alive and then go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. May you pursue your studies and scholars of life, seeking out, as scholars of life, seeking out knowledge in books and challenging new experiences in the voices of the global community. And yes, even on social media. May you gather around you good company. For your journey, may your efforts in your work bring you joy. May you continue to cultivate a disposition for peace, an affection for knowledge, a hunger for justice, and a passion for the planet. May you discover new ways to serve, more causes to embrace, more justice to be done, more truth to be spoken, more influences to be shared. May your lives be lived with purpose and grace. And may the spirit of the source, who brings meaning to our days and joy to our lives, bless you and your journey with you this day and forevermore. Let it be so. Amen. Amen. Ashe. And so it is.